Welcome back. So hopefully you all succeeded in that little challenge that we had. And at the end of the day, soils are very important and are honestly very underrated and underappreciated by a lot of the common people. Before I became an ag teacher, personally, I didn't really understand the importance of soils, but I took a soils class in college, and that really opened my eyes. There's so much to learn about soils. I could probably teach an entire class here at the high school about soils because I'm just very passionate about it. And there's so much to talk about. It's very fascinating once you dig into it, no pun intended. So soil texture is something that is very important when we're talking about soils. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this. And hopefully at home we can do some, or in school, we can do some labs actually texturing some different soils through a couple different methods. So soil texture is broadly defined as the fineness or coarseness of a soil. It describes the proportion of the three sizes of soil particles. And these are sand, silt, and clay. Sand is the largest particle. Silt is medium or in the middle, and clay is very, very small. Okay, so if you were to think about this in, let's say, an analogy, Gopher Stadium, TCF Bank Stadium, where the Minnesota Gophers play football, that whole stadium could be considered a grain of sand. Okay, to give you some perspective, clay would probably be the size of a football within that large stadium, and silt is somewhere in between. So kind of think like clay is very, very, very small, and sand is very, very, very big. So that kind of helped me visualize like the vast difference between clay and sand on a size level. That may help you too. Otherwise, this diagram kind of explains too. Now, obviously, sand, silt, and clay are the three particle sizes. Gravel is not a particle we're going to talk about too much, but a lot of us probably know what gravel is because a lot of us probably live on dirt roads in this area of the state. So that is gravel in proportion to sand, silt, and clay. So even gravel is so much bigger than sand. Like if we go back to that Gophers analogy, the Gopher TCF Bank Stadium, yeah, that could be a sand particle, but then gravel is probably all of Dinkytown, honestly, or like that whole area by the stadium. So texture is very important because it affects a lot of different things. It affects water holding capacity, and this is the ability of a soil to retain water for use by plants. Some plants require more water than others. So having a soil that is good water holding capacity for some of those plants that require a lot of water is very important. Permeability is defined as the ease in which air and water may pass through the soil. And basically, if there is a lot of open space between the different particles, we are going to get a lot of water and nutrients and air to pass through the soil because there's a lot of space in between the particles. So oftentimes with our sandy soils, they're going to be very permeable because you're going to be able to suck down those water and those air particles down a lot faster because there's more space in between each of the particles. Soil workability, the ease in which soil may be tilled and the timing of working the soil after rain. And ability of the plants to grow. Root crops like carrots will have a difficulty growing in a fine texture soil. So these are just four simple ways texture can affect plants. And clayey and sandy soils definitely influence these quite a bit, simply because their particle sizes are so different. So you're going to watch this brain break today too. You'll find one of my biggest pet peeves in the soils unit is when people call soil dirt. Soil is not dirt. Dirt is not soil. Okay? Soil is when we have the specific location of where that earth material came from. Okay? If we know that this soil sample came from Billy Bob Jr.'s backyard and we know the specific spot, that, my friends, is soil. If we have a pile of black dirt with no unknown origin or multiple different sources where that black dirt came from, that's dirt. That's not soil. Okay, so watch this video, learn the difference between soil and dirt, soil and dirt, and I'll see you in the next video.